Welcome back, my friends. I'm so glad you're here because we are going to dissect something very important today. This is video number 316 and it's on the causes of cancer. We started our unit on cancer in general with video number 309, and I've now taught you all about the normal cell, cell size and cell number, cell abnormalities, common characteristics of all cancers, and the multiple personalities of cancers in videos 309 through 313. Then, in video 314, I discussed cancer assessment. And you discovered that the very first factor in the assessment of any cancer is cause. And because cause is at the root of all cancers, it's critical that we discuss it. So, why should you watch this video? Because of the wonderful things it does to enable you to avoid cancers. That's why. Now, but in my book, I only have the cause of each cancer individually. This video will address causes of cancers as a whole. If you haven't already guessed, I'm supposed to be Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz today, and that's because we're discussing cause. When I was thinking about this video on cause, the song from The Wizard of Oz that goes because popped into my head, and it just wouldn't quit playing in my head, so I just went with it. But then all sorts of other things having to do with cause came to mind also. And if you think about it, there are many different facets of cause. You know, I'm a physician, but I also have a law degree. And sometimes my legal mind sets the stage for a video, and this is one of those times. Law is notorious for dissecting words to death, twisting their meanings every which way, and considering every possible permutation. Medicine isn't like that. Medicine is very concrete. Doctors don't look for all the shades of gray the way lawyers do. I went to law school part-time while I was practicing obstetrics and gynecology full-time, so I was already heavily indoctrinated in the concrete world of medicine, in which a word is a word with a dictionary meaning, and that's that. So I was shocked when I first started law school and took civil procedure. The textbook was one of those thick, hefty books typical of legal texts. And I was used to thick, hefty books because compared to medical textbooks, legal textbooks are quite tiny. But I was shocked to read what was in the legal books, making them hefty. The very first thing was a discussion on the word reasonable. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think of reasonable as a word that requires a lot of explanation. But if you start looking at it from many different angles, it becomes more complicated. Well, given the fact that it was the very beginning of my law school education, I hadn't ever thought of it that way before. And the definition of reasonable consumed over 50 pages in my textbook. It addressed what was reasonable under the circumstances, the reasonable person, and on and on and on. And because I now think like both a doctor and a lawyer, I'm going to present this video from the perspective of a lawyer. By the way, I have a master's degree in business administration too, and you never know how I'll use it in these videos either. So the word cause. If we consider all the ramifications of the word cause, you discover that it can fall into a variety of categories. If you consider cause in terms of timing, You have primary cause and secondary cause. If you considered cause in terms of degree, you have singular cause, sole cause, solitary cause, only cause, ultimate cause, contributing cause, and insignificant cause. But if you consider cause in terms of certainty, you have some of the same meanings of causation we've already listed, as well as some new ones. Once again, you have singular cause, sole cause, solitary cause, only cause, and ultimate cause. But you could add to that all of the following: direct cause, indirect cause, foreseeable cause, unforeseeable cause, and, as is most common in law, proximate cause and probable cause. But if you look at legal concepts of cause alone, you only have proximate cause and probable cause. Then, if you consider the logic of cause, you have known cause, unknown cause, legitimate cause, understandable cause, and inexplicable cause. And if you want to address the culprit of cause, you have contributing cause, preventable cause, and unpreventable cause. You can even address cause in terms of morality using the term unspeakable cause. And of course, as is most commonly the case in medicine, you can focus on the result of the cause. And that gives you both cause and consequence, and cause and effect. Of course, if you've got the Wizard of Oz song playing in your head, you'll probably settle for because. You know, it wasn't until the mid-1800s that cancer became a common disease. Now, this coincides with civilization, wherein people started living in cities rather than on farms, and our diets became the product of an industrialized food supply. So you really have to think of cancer as a disease of civilization. And as you've probably already seen over the course of your own lifetime, cancer has become more and more common with time. Now, if you study the history of cancer like I have, you learn that the search for the cause of cancer was very long and tedious. And that is because nobody wanted to accept the possibility that our own bodies could be the cause of cancer. Most of the focus was on viruses as a cause of cancer, chemical carcinogens as a cause of cancer, occupational exposures as a cause of cancer, and toxins as a cause of cancer. People were even reluctant to accept the possibility that our behaviors could cause cancer. There was huge resistance to admit that smoking caused cancer, even though the evidence was overwhelming. And genetics has always been suspect for causing cancer, but genetics only accounted for a small minority of cancers. And the real goal was to determine the cause and effect of various potential cancer-causing agents. But there are many difficulties with designating the actual cause of any cancer. Why? Well, because, as I taught you in video 312, every cancer begins as just one single cell that transforms from a normal cell into a cancer cell in response to a stimulus that induces it to do so. And the problem is that it is very difficult to know when that very first cell becomes a cancer cell and then starts the transition all the way to cancer. Because the true cause of any cancer is really the very first thing that stimulates that very first cell to become a cancer cell. Well, how can you pinpoint when that is, or the precise thing that caused it? In law, we look for proximate cause, which implies a cause that occurs at the right time and in the right proximity to produce the outcome. But cancers, they don't work that way. Cancers take years to develop. There's no way to know when any cancer actually began. And if you don't know when it began, you can't determine the precise cause. In law, in order to assign cause, you have the burden of proof. In other words, you have to prove that something was the specific cause of an outcome. Well, with cancers, that's almost impossible. Even studies on the causes of cancer are difficult. Why? Because most studies are done over the short term. But determining the cause of cancer requires studies over the long term. So assigning cause for any cancer is a very difficult task indeed. This is why knowing the risk factors for each cancer is so important. No risk factor works in a vacuum. There is always interplay between your genetics, your environment, your habits, your diet, etc. And the bottom line for most cancers is that we cause most of our cancers ourselves. We don't do so intentionally, but the way in which we live our lives determines the likelihood of getting cancer. And face it, cancer is a disease of civilization and industrialization. And the more civilized and industrialized we get, the more cancers we will have. On a more global level, if you study industrial and occupational cancer specifically, some of the realities of what causes cancer are very, very bothersome. The truth is that many of the basic causes of cancer were identified centuries ago. And early on, several centuries of the causes of cancer coalesced, but were later forgotten or shoved aside. As we became more and more industrialized and encountered more and more cancers of civilization, there was more and more in the way of efforts to ignore or conceal the true causes of cancer. In the scientific sector, the search for more scientific information distorted what was already known about the causes of cancer. Individuals who worked in the scientific realm of discovering the causes of cancer went to work for the very industries that produced cancer-causing agents. And business law protected industries from revealing what they deemed to be trade secrets, so they could legally conceal the fact that they knew their products caused cancer. These industries would manipulate the public by inciting doubt about their products causing cancer. And consumers of cancer-causing agents didn't want to believe that the product they love could possibly hurt them. This was the case with cigarettes. So the industries would conduct their own research in order to control what the public learned about cancer-causing potential of their products. This resulted in enabling industries to say they were studying the problem, when in actuality, they were doing everything possible to conceal the problem. Their study results would misrepresent the nature and extent of the harm caused by their products. And most governments took industry reports about the safety of their products at face value. So the standards served the industries better than they served the health of the public. Industries would routinely denounce research on animals as irrelevant to humans. Or they would claim that cancer was just too complex and required more research. Sometimes industries would claim confusion of experimental evidence with actual proof of cause. The legal profession has contributed to our inability to pinpoint the causes of cancer also. They have done so through the highly restrictive rules of evidence and the requirements for proof. You century-old knowledge of what causes cancer is not admissible in court. Animal research is ruled out. And to prove that an agent caused cancer, you have to show that a precise group of people with the exact same exposure got cancer, prove that the plaintiff belongs to such a group of people, and find a responsible party who can be held accountable. It all amounts to a long history of neglect in documented causes of cancer. The reason it has taken so long to prove cause with so many cancer-causing agents has had nothing to do with science and everything to do with control of information. For industries that produce a cancer-causing agent, doing the right thing for humankind inevitably conflicts with their profits. Unfortunately, what we know about the causes of cancer is profoundly economic and political. It reflects the values of those who pay for the research, decide what to study, and determine when and if the findings should ever be revealed to the public. So designating the causes of cancer has not been easy. It's like following the yellow brick road in the Wizard of Oz. The yellow brick road led Dorothy to the wizard who was but a fraud. And the yellow brick road will lead you to cancer, which is not a fraud. All right, the summary is that there are many things that contribute to the cause of cancer, and your job is to focus on the causes and avoid them. Knowing the risk factors for any given cancer is key. But this is greatly complicated and distorted by industries that produce cancer-causing agents and also produce every possible impediment for your knowing that their product is a cancer-causing agent. But fortunately, we have an industry that focuses on cancer itself, the cancer industry. So that's what we'll address next week, along with treatment and cure of cancer. Until then, don't hesitate to schedule a consultation for anything your heart desires at menopausetailor.me. I'll see you on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram between now and then. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Bye!